The purpose of this coaching cycle is to use small group instruction to drill down to exactly what students need concerning phonemic and phonological awareness. We are using the evidence-based coaching tool to guide our work today. We started off with the past assessment, and this assessment shows us exactly what the kids need concerning phonemic awareness.
So I noticed that the students really need some additional instruction in short I. We were not as fluent in that area as we need to be. Some of them, I think, need to focus on the mouth formation when they say the short I sound.
Okay. What specifically do you want for the outcome to be at the end of this coaching cycle?
Since the data reflected that they were needing additional support with the short I sound, I would like for them to be able to isolate the short I sound in those short CVC words. So once they've isolated that, I think we could move on into manipulating that medial vowel sound.
We want to always start with a warm-up to get the kids' brains moving.
Yeah, so we could do shoulders, knees, and toes.
Okay, so like if the word were hit, then we would say it. And I think that's good. It'll get their minds ready to learn, their eyes ready to see, their ears ready to hear. When we look at the standard, we see that it says that students can isolate, blend, and segment words, but it also has a focus on the mouth formation, like you said. When warming up articulation, we want to use the cue card that has a picture of a student mouth as well as a mirror to show the students how to form their mouths correctly so that they can enunciate the sounds properly.
I think maybe I could model that for them. What do you think?
I think that's a great idea.
I could use the cue card, show them what that looks like, and then we could use a mirror to model. What do you think about that?
I think that's a great idea. Since we're focused on the short I sound, Wendy is going to show us what it looks like to make the sound with her mouth and to look into the mirror while she does that.
Okay, so for the kids it would be I. What's the sound? I. Okay, how does your mouth look when you make the I sound? Your mouth is open, you're smiling, and your lips are open just a bit. I. And your tongue, we want to focus on that as well, the whole mouth formation, so the tongue kind of goes up a little in the back. I.
When we begin segmenting, we want to give the students a word that has the sound that we're working on, which is the I sound. And then we also want to give them some additional words that have other vowel sounds in the medial position. So for example, do you like thumbs up, thumbs down?
Yeah, we
just
can do
as
that.
a quick formative check to see if the students can hear the sound that we're talking about?
Sure, we can do that.
Okay, so what are some words you think would work good with this activity?
So I think if we're going to give them some that do have the short I sound, what if we do ship?
Okay, because that has 3 phonemes.
And then we could do, why don't we do hid, tip. And then we can give them some words that do not have the short I sound.
Okay, so what about hat? Do you think that would be? So if you think about it, you have the word hid, and you change the ending part of that word, they would still have the same initial sound, so that may work.
Yeah, on the data that we looked at, the initial sound for most of the kids was where it needed to be.
Okay. When we are working with our students on segmenting, I think it's important that we give them enough exposure so we can formatively check to see if they're understanding the sounds that we're working on. Now, while we're working through that, I can watch the students to see if there's anything that I notice while you're teaching.
Yes.
And then we can talk about that and adjust instruction as needed as we go through.
That sounds great.
What are your thoughts on, or do you have a routine in place where the students blend phonemes that they already know or they're more familiar with?
A lot of times I will throw the kids a word and then we will tap the sounds and then we will push tiles to map the sounds.
Okay, so let's practice. Throw a word to me.
So I'm going to throw you the word rib.
And I catch and say rib.
Rib. And then we'll tap rib.
So do you always start with your thumb?
Yes.
And the students know that?
Yes, and so when you're showing the students, you want to make sure that you do the opposite so that they can read left to right. Then we would move to mapping the sounds with the Elkonin boxes and the tiles. So if we did the word rib, it would be rib, rib. So they've said the individual sounds and then they've blended the word together.
Okay, we also want to be sure that consonants are represented with one color and vowels are represented with the other color. One thing to remember when we are working with phonemic awareness is that we do not want any print to be involved in our lesson at this time. We're going to substitute the initial and the final sound. So Wendy, let's see if we can practice what that would look like.
Okay, so if I say the word rib and then I say, if I change the in rib to f, what's the new word?
Fib.
Right, fib would be the new word. So we're just changing some of the sounds.
Okay, and so how many exposures, again, do you think that the students need in order to tell if they are ready to move on or they need additional practice in that one area?
So I think maybe like we did in the beginning, maybe 4 to 5 exposures I think usually does good with them.
We are focused on middle vowel substitution. Do you have anything in place that you use with your students?
So I like to use these counters because we can show when we flip to the other side, we can show that that's the sound we're manipulating. Okay, so if the word is sad, we would pull the sounds and we would say sad, sad. And I would then ask them to isolate that medial vowel sound. And so the sound in this word sad is ah. Now if we want to manipulate that medial sound, we could flip to show them, it's just a visual cue that we're changing this middle sound from ah to I. So now the word is id, sid. If you and I are planning together, we're looking over the student data, we're looking for common trends in that data, and then coming up with our ideas, making sure we're using those strategies together, and just getting down to the level of, okay, what words will we use so that there's no questioning when we're in the middle of this lesson, what are we going to do to help these kids get to where they need to be?
When a teacher and coach are working together in a partnership, it is important to plan and have clear direction so that you can ensure that you know what you're looking for, and adjustments are made if the students don't understand the first time.